Hiking doesn't always end well. Sometimes you encounter creatures like these. Creepy humanoids, unnatural beasts, and let's not forget this terrifying dogman captured by a hiker.
Please don't look up here.
These are the clearest footage of cryptids you'll ever see.
Take on. Don't look up here.
In April 2021, this hunter was looking for deer at the Black Balsam Knob in Pisgah National Forest. But then, he entered a very dangerous territory. He hid after spotting a terrifying 9-foot-tall humanoid creature. The creature had gray skin with long antlers just like a deer. One look at the creature told him it was a wendigo. Soon, the wendigo turned its head, as if it had sensed him hiding there. If it had found him, things would have ended very badly. But, to his relief, it walked away after 10 minutes.
Keep going.
Shocking conflict. I never expected to see an apex predator overpowered by another creature. But here we are. Someone visiting Yosemite National Park in California captured a shocking moment on camera. A tall beast was combating a bear. The creature looked much taller than it, with goat-like horns and humanoid limbs. It kept going after the bear like a predator toying with its food. And shockingly, the bear seemed completely helpless. After recording the scene, the man quickly left the area to avoid getting caught up in that humanoid wolf. 2 years ago, when a man had gone on a vacation to Mount Mitchell State Park, he saw an unexpected creature. In the distance, there was a huge, furry beast. Its appearance looked like that of a wolf, but somehow it was walking like a person. It seemed powerful and dangerous, with those strong limbs and broad shoulders, which is why the man stayed far, far away as it walked out of sight. He believed it was a dogman. Bigfoot sighting.
What is that thing?
It's moving the trees, you see that?
On the 10th of July last year, a forester reported seeing this beastly humanoid in the Ouachita National Forest, Oklahoma. It had brown fur and looked just like a Bigfoot. The fact that it was visible from such a great distance meant it was massive. He alerted authorities, and they began searching the area with their drone. That's when they spotted another one among the trees. This one was much darker, but clearly from the same kind. After that, access to the area was restricted until it could be contained. Beastly ambush. While a man was riding to his home in Asheville, North Carolina, something terrifying ambushed him. It was a tall beast with thick fur, huge horns, and a goat-like face. The man rode away from the beast that was chasing him impossibly fast, and barely got away, or so he thought. The next day, he saw the same goat-like beast right after dawn. It was staring at him from across the clearing behind his home. The beast was clearly stalking him. The man stayed inside until it left. He hasn't shared if the beast returned. Dark reptilianoid.
There's something by the shore.
The Brazos River in Texas is teeming with fish, but when a fisherman went to catch some, this is what he saw instead. There was a tall, dark reptilianoid on the riverbank. It was as tall as a person, with skin so dark, no light seemed to reflect off it. The creepiest part was the tail. It was extremely long, thick, and heavy. Just like him, it was after the fish too, because after a few minutes, it ran into the water to catch its prey. The fisherman had a feeling he could be next, so he backed away. Bizarre owl.
Allah Akbar, ada yang muncul tuh bolo.
The Devil's Courthouse, which is at the base of the Blue Ridge Mountain in North Carolina, has always been tied to legends of creepy encounters. In May 2023, a hiker had one too. He unexpectedly found a cave. Before he could step in, this bizarre creature walked out. Its face looked like an owl with long hair and had oddly humanoid limbs. The man didn't want to encounter more of these, so walked the other way.
Hati-hati saat di hutan bolo.
Grotesque tunnel creature. While some people were surveying an unmapped area of Black Forest of Colorado, one of them discovered a mysterious tunnel. Curious about what it might lead to, he stepped inside to take a closer look. Suddenly, a pale, fleshy creature suddenly emerged from the darkness. It had a grotesque face that looked predatory as it chased him. The man was lucky because the floor was slippery, so it couldn't reach him fast enough, and he was able to escape. Pale predator.
Yo, what the? No, that's not right.
This might be one of the most terrifying hiking encounters. While walking through Continia State Forest, Kentucky, a hiker began hearing rustling sounds from the shrubs, and you won't believe what crawled out. It was a bone-chilling creature with pale skin and sharp claws. All its attention was locked onto the hiker with predatory intent. He warned it to stay away, but the creature began chasing him instead. Yet somehow, he managed to escape it.
Bro, back up. It's coming this way. Oh!
Not human. While trekking through the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest in Washington, a man had lost his way. After wandering for some time, he noticed someone standing on a hill in the distance. At first, he felt relieved, thinking he'd finally found another hiker who could help him find the trail again. But as he looked closer, something felt very wrong. The figure was unusually tall and stood completely still. Its face looked pale and strangely inhuman. The man decided to keep his distance because it felt safer not to approach it. Scary forest encounter.
What is that?
The owner of the YouTube channel Dee's Dark Adventure is known for exploring dark forests, and this time was way creepier. She was in the George Washington National Forest, Virginia, when she began hearing creepy noises, like someone was calling out to her.
Dude, we gotta help him.
But after following them, she realized it was no person. It was a creepy entity staring back at her with glowing eyes. It was half hidden in the grass, as if waiting for her to get closer, which she didn't. Her survival instincts kicked in, and she drove off to another spot, and the entity watched her leave. Legendary wolf. 2 years ago, a tourist had made the mistake of staying in one of the creepiest forests ever. He was spending the night at a cabin near the Monongahela National Forest in West Virginia. As he was recording the view, suddenly a massive growling beast ran across the clearing. It was so fast, he couldn't even make out the details. All he could see was its white, smoky shape. After replaying the footage, he wondered if it was the smoke wolf, which is a legendary creature believed to live in these woods.
What was that?
Captured rake.
Whoa, hold it!
A group of trappers had gone to the Allegheny National Forest in Pennsylvania to capture small animals, but instead, they caught something no one knew existed. The creature was small and slender, yet completely terrifying. Its eyes were glowing as it kept thrashing around inside the cage, trying to break free. The men thought it was a little rake, but after recording their huge discovery, they let it go because they didn't want to carry this creepy creature home.
We actually caught it. What is that?
Goatman footage. This footage is quite old, but it's still one of the most shocking today. Someone had recorded it at Owyhee Canyonlands, Oregon. The video shows a really tall humanoid in the distance. It was dark, with what seemed like horns on its head. Its limbs seemed too slender and long. It looked like someone had captured an actual Goatman, but I couldn't really find out more about the person who recorded this. So if you have any information, let me know in the comments below. Unnatural creature. A wildlife enthusiast in the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest, Washington, was recording the scene, hoping to capture an exciting moment. That's when an unknown creature jumped out of the trees. Shocked, he tried tracking it again, and at night, it finally showed up. To his surprise, its body was more human-like than animal, but despite that, it was able to move unnaturally fast and was letting out creepy sounds. That was the last time he spotted it. After that, he stayed away from this part of the forest. Unknown humanoids. On the 2nd of February, This year, a wildlife researcher had set up his trail cameras in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, North Carolina, to observe the feeding habits of black bears, but ended up capturing these tall humanoids. They were at least 9 feet tall and had pale skin. The way they were walking seemed too casual, as if they weren't even worried about predators finding them. The researcher thought that maybe these were predators too, and the reason why no other animals were in sight, not even bears. He'll now be observing them further. Group of monsters.
What the hell's that? Oh god.
When a man was walking through the Appalachian Trail in Maine, his dog suddenly started acting strangely and led him towards a narrow path. He began squeezing through it, and that was a mistake. On the other side, he found a group of pale creatures. After seeing him enter their territory, they immediately started chasing them. The man and his dog began backing away as fast as he could. The creatures were so fast, he thought it was the end. But when he finally made it out of the narrow space, the creatures didn't follow. White slender humanoid. On the 5th of June last year, when a man named Joshua Parker was recording the grand view of Mount Sneffels Wilderness, Colorado, he unexpectedly captured this. There was a tall, bizarre humanoid walking on the valley floor. It had completely white skin, along with unusually long limbs and dark hair. The humanoid's face seemed completely featureless from that distance. After walking for a few seconds, it went down on all fours and began crawling in the most absurd way. Since no known species looks or behaves like that, Joshua believed he had discovered a new one. Stalking rake. Last year in March, while a woman was driving to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, she stopped to watch a dark moose, but something else was watching it too. There was a creepy, pale, rake-like creature in the distance. It seemed to be crouching. She watched as the rake slowly stalked towards it. The moose had no idea about the creepy predator that was preying on. The sight was so disturbing that the woman stopped recording and drove away before it could meet its end.
Oh man.
Chupacabra sighting. You need to see what a woman named Rachel Lipsky shared on her Instagram. She was in Cuyahoga Valley National Park, Ohio during winter when she noticed this strange, 4-legged creature. I need you to watch carefully. It didn't look like a wolf or a dog. The creature didn't even seem to have any fur, making it creepier. The woman didn't dare draw its attention. Then she uploaded the video, asking her viewers if it was a Chupacabra. So, do you think it was really a Chupacabra? Dark beast sighting. On the 21st of January, 2024, the YouTuber Trailer Tom, who shares snowboarding videos, caught something unbelievable on his camera. He was at Keystone Resort, Colorado, when he spotted a dark humanoid in the distance. It was huge, with broad shoulders, and seemed to be covered in dark fur. The humanoid had been standing still. Before he could get too close, it began walking away towards the trees to hide. Unnatural creature. These friends that were driving towards Allegheny National Forest, Pennsylvania, were freaking out because there was a terrifying creature on the roadside. Look carefully or you'll miss it. It was bent in an unnatural way and didn't have any fur. No known species was supposed to look like that, but their horror didn't end there. After they passed by it, the creature stood up like a humanoid, and it was really tall. They realized it must have been a skinwalker that only revealed its true form after they'd driven away. Tall, horned creature. A man named Ethan Caldwell decided to live close to the woods, thinking staying near nature would be good for his mental health. But what he spotted there only ruined it for him. He saw a terrifying, tall creature across his house. From that distance, it seemed nearly 10 feet tall, with long horns. Its skin was so pale that it was visible even in the dark. His fear turned into terror as that creature began running towards his house. He ran inside to lock himself, and the creature vanished when it couldn't get in. Hissing being. This video from 2016, a man from Wilmington, Delaware, was exploring the woods near his neighborhood to make content for his new YouTube channel. That's when he suddenly heard a strange hissing sound coming from an old abandoned well. The worst he expected to find was a wild animal hiding inside. But he was wrong. He saw a pair of glowing eyes staring back at him. They seemed to belong to a pale, mysterious creature hiding in the darkness. It was so creepy that one glimpse was enough to make him run out of there. Grotesque stalking. Being an explorer who'd been deep in the Black Forest, Germany, I thought he would take a shortcut out of there, but that was a mistake because he ended up having a bone-chilling encounter on that route. There was a pair of glowing eyes constantly stalking him. Wherever he went, those eyes followed. Then, he finally decided to find out what was after him, but wasn't prepared to face it. Wait for the terrifying reveal. It was a bone-chilling creature with a face so grotesque, it sent him running the other way.
Look at it. He's looking at us.
Mysterious carcass. In 2013, when some oil workers were looking for a drilling site in Canaima National Park, Venezuela, they came across the most mysterious carcass. It was huge, with dark fur, and a mouth that looked like a wolf's. There were even signs of struggle on the carcass, like some wild animal had been responsible, but it was not a wolf. Since wolves do not naturally live in South America, they didn't touch it and continued on with their work. They had no idea what this was, but if you do, let me know in the comments below. Strange humanoids. Last month, a photographer climbed to the top of some hills to capture the perfect sunset. But on another hill, he noticed a tall humanoid figure standing there. He instantly knew it wasn't another person who had climbed up, because there was no climbing gear with it, and it seemed far too tall from that distance. The sight unsettled him, so he decided to leave. But just as he was about to drive away, he saw another figure standing on a nearby hill. This one was slender, but just as tall. He realized this place was home to such mysterious beings, and left for good. Unknown dark creature. Here's one of the most unexpected experiences at a ski resort. This group of people were at Breckenridge Ski Resort, Colorado, when something caught their attention, and they all gathered to watch. I need you to look closely. There was a dark creature among the trees. It seemed much taller than an average person, since they could only see its shape. They didn't know if it was a bear or something more mysterious, but they didn't dare get closer to confirm that because they were terrified. Slimy creature.
What is that? Hold the light right there.
A search and rescue team had been looking for a missing person in the Hiawatha National Forest, Michigan, but what they found instead was a nightmare. A pale creature was trying to hide behind the tree branches. It had huge white eyes with a creepy mouth gaping open. The creature's skin looked slimy and even gave off a foul stench. It suddenly growled and ran away so fast they couldn't even track it down again. The team believed this was behind the missing person's case.
Oh my god.
Back up. Move it.
Go, it's running.
Dispatch, we have something on.
Terrifying catch. You need to see what this team of hunters had captured in High Point State Park, New Jersey. They'd been there to capture wild animals, but instead, this beast took the bait. It looked just like a wendigo, with its massive horns, deer-like appearance, and humanoid limbs. The creature had really sharp teeth that they stayed away from, and it kept thrashing to get out of the cage. The video doesn't reveal what they did with their catch. Terrifying rake.
Entrance all fenced off.
On the 21st of August, 2016, a YouTuber was sharing the base that he had made in Grayson Highlands State Park, Virginia. That's when something else caught his attention. He went to look closer, thinking it was a pale cow in the distance. But he was so wrong. A rake-like creature suddenly began crawling towards him. The sight of it coming closer scared him so much that the video ended while he was still panicking. The YouTuber did not tell what happened next.
Oh,
Mysterious giant. In 2016, a Spanish skier was at the Aramon Formigal ski resort in the Pyrenees, northeastern Spain. That's when he spotted a huge white creature in the distance. Despite having white fur, its gait and posture looked nothing like a polar bear, so he knew it wasn't that. When he shared this sighting online, viewers said it was a yeti. After he reported this to the resort authorities, they began a search and couldn't track it down. But the skier was convinced the yeti had gone into hiding. Not wolf. While exploring the Monongahela National Forest in West Virginia at night, a woman had the most bone-chilling encounter. She heard a voice calling her name from the darkness. To her horror, she had been completely alone there. After a few seconds, a wolf-like creature walked out. It had a really disturbing gait, which turned stranger as it got closer, like something else was trying to mimic a wolf. Then, it lunged. Before things could end badly for her, it turned away at the last moment, which gave her time to escape. Bigfoot sighting. A photographer had gone to Smith Rock State Park, Oregon, since it's one of the 7 wonders of Oregon, and realized there was more to it than just scenery. He spotted 2 dark giants walking on the rocks in the distance. He knew they weren't apes or bears, because neither of those are found in this park, and these giants didn't move like them. So, he believed these were Bigfoot, and they must be living in the caves over there. Do you think he was right?
No, mira el tamaño, espérate.
New sighting.
Hit that mother.
This trail camera footage was uploaded on an old YouTube channel, Jimmy B Trail Cams, in 2013. It shows a huge, dark-furred humanoid walking among the trees in the Olympic National Forest, Washington. Viewers believed it was Bigfoot, and years later, one explorer spotted a similar humanoid in the same forest. Take a look. The dark creature was hidden behind the trees, so he stuck around till night to capture clearer footage, which he did. The creature didn't step out into the clearing, which meant it liked to stay hidden, so he didn't get closer either.
I told y'all there was something out here.
Bizarre creature. A group of friends living in Wilmington, Delaware had heard rumors about a mysterious creature living in the woods near their city. Out of curiosity, they went to look for it and found the most bizarre creature on top of a log. The pale creature had really weird limbs that were bent at odd angles. Although the video wasn't very clear, we can still see how strange its pointed ears were. It kept staring at them with that blank face. Before they tried to capture it, the creature slipped behind the log so fast they couldn't even chase it. Bigfoot family. Finding a Bigfoot in the woods is shocking, right? Well, wait till you see an entire family. A botanist was in the Cherokee National Forest, Tennessee, collecting plant samples. That's when he noticed this dark, furred beast, with a smaller one running after it. He stayed the night there to keep observing them, and found an entire clan of them. He immediately decided to leave and report this shocking discovery to a relevant department, so they could track down and study them. New Jersey's beast. While patrolling the Wharton State Forest in New Jersey, a park ranger saw a mysterious beast staring at him with glowing eyes. He was familiar with all the wild animals that lived in the forest and knew this wasn't one of them. The beast was too dark with a sharp pair of horns, and its face was too strange. He kept his distance because it reminded him of the stories he'd always heard about the Jersey Devil. A hiker had even captured one in the same woods before. Do you think it was the same beast? Comment below. Not a goat. Late one night in Rosario, Argentina, a farmer rushed to his shed after hearing noises. He thought another animal might have broken in, but what he found was much worse. A dark, goat-like creature was standing upright, and its eyes were glowing. The creepiest part? He didn't have any goats. When he moved closer, the creature opened its mouth to screech. He realized this was something evil trying to disguise itself as a goat, so he ran away. It was gone by the next morning. Strange canine. Some tourists were in Canaan Valley, West Virginia. They were driving towards the waterfall when they ended up seeing a really strange creature on their way. Its appearance matched that of a wolf. But something wasn't quite right. The creature was galloping around like a horse. No wolves move like that. What's stranger is that there haven't been any wolf sightings in West Virginia since the 1900s. You can only find them in captivity. So if it wasn't a wolf, what do you think it was? Comment below. Bougam sighting. Have you ever heard stories about the Bougam, which is a legendary 8-foot-tall giant that lives in the woods? It seemed like a man had finally recorded proof of its existence. He was in San Isabel National Forest, Colorado, when he spotted the giant walking among the trees. It was using its unbelievably long arms for leverage. It had really long, shaggy fur. The man tried not to draw its attention because in the legends, these giants can even chase people to protect their territory. Demonic entity. This video will make you fear the woods forever. A hiker was exploring the Gorontalo forest in Indonesia, a forest which he'd always wanted to explore, but regretted it after finding this demonic creature sitting on the branch. It had dark fur, along with multiple strange horns on its head, and was staring at him with those bright eyes. The hiker's heart began pounding with fear when he realized it was eating something out of its clawed hands. Not wanting to meet the same fate, he ran out of there. Yeti sighting. The following video shows a mysterious ape-like creature covered in thick white fur. It had a broad and powerful body with a humanoid posture. It seemed to be observing its surroundings carefully before walking away and crouching low. It's not really known when or where this was recorded, making the footage even more mysterious. But people are convinced it was a real Yeti sighting. Strange stalker. Someone in the Tallgrass Prairie National Preserve, Kansas, recorded a creepy creature stalking him. At first, he thought it was an animal that had gotten astray from its herd, but then realized that wasn't the case. It was behaving oddly and seemed to be crouching on humanoid limbs. Its face was even creepier because it didn't resemble anything he'd seen before. It finally began crawling towards him, which sent the man running in the opposite direction. Dark humanoid. On the 18th of January, 2020, a park ranger was following mysterious noises in the Jefferson National Forest, which led him to this humanoid. It was standing and staring at him with those creepy, glowing eyes, like it had been waiting for him. He thought this creature must have been making those sounds to lure him. As soon as the creature raised its hand, his survival instincts kicked in, so he stopped recording and ran out of there. Now it's time to openly discuss the most shocking sighting. For many years, there have been reports of dogman sightings with only images to prove them, like this one, which the photographer Martin Alvarez had captured near the Scorpion's Cave in Michigan, and this one in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, along with many more. But for the first time, a man named Benjamin Beckett captured the clearest footage. He had gone deep into the Chequamegon-Nicolet National Forest, Wisconsin last year in May, when he saw a dark creature walking among the trees. He immediately knew it was a dogman because of its thick fur, long snout, and humanoid posture. When the dogman began walking in his direction, he quickly left to avoid getting caught by it. What would you have done in this situation? Comment below.